Yeah, again, start. So I'm Shivam. I'm from New Delhi, India, and currently I'm doing my BTech in the field of mathematics and computing from NSCT University. And currently I'm in my pre-final year, and I'm also learning about cloud technologies, and that has brought me here. And yeah, I'm here to learn as well as to contribute to the community.
Cool. Yeah, that's great, Shivam. Welcome to the community. So next up we have Alan or Alpesh.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, yep, you are audible.
Hello, my name is Alan. I'm taking bachelor in computer science, and I'm here to learn, I guess. This is my first time. Thank you.
Welcome, Alan, to the call.
Thank you.
Yep. So next up we have Alpesh or Chand. So have you been here in this call before?
Hi, Gaurav. Yeah, I've been to this call before also.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I must have missed out.
Yeah.
Cool. So I don't think I'm missing more newcomers. So if I'm missing, I'll just pause for 5 seconds, interrupt me and start your introduction. Otherwise, we'll move to today's agenda item. We have a couple of good and heavy agenda items today. So Gyan, Prakash or Avishkar, do you want to introduce? You are unmute.
Oh, sorry, but we already have introduced myself. So it's my like 7th, mid of 4th, I think.
Cool. Let me share my screen. So let's start with today's agenda item. First up on the list, we have Shivam on call for UI designers and mockup for MeshMap design page. So Shivam, are you ready with your update?
Yeah, got it.
Cool. So are you sharing your screen? Should I stop?
Actually, we need new UI designs for new pages of the MeshMap page. And
I'm just sorry to interrupt, but in case your alternate microphone isn't on, I figured I'd interrupt because it's difficult to hear you. So if there's something you are able to do about that, just maybe a double check on which microphone is being used in Zoom, or I don't know.
Am I audible now?
You're audible, but it's horrific. You are in a tunnel 19 years away, somewhere in the distant future, speaking back to us, looking down upon us, telling us to invest into Yahoo again. And I realize maybe if your microphone it's the correct one, or like if that's as good as it gets, that's I think we'll survive. I just wanted to double check just before.
Is it okay now?
It's a bit better, yeah. Or I think anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So we have some issues open up for designs for new pages of for new MeshMap pages. That is the design page, visualize page, and collaborate page. And we need UI designers to jump in and show their creativity. I have created a mockup right now for the design page, and implementation for this looks like this. I implemented some of the stuff. It's very early stage. I haven't added all of the sections, and yes. So the main thing is that we need designs for these pages. I've created sections for them so that it is easy for everyone to refer to. And we also have issues open for them. I've also added the links in those issues right here. So there are 3 issues, and for each of the sections, collaborate, visualize, and design. And if someone wants to contribute, they can just go to this page, and to get the ideas about what you need to add and like what creativity can be done, you can refer to the MeshMap page that is already present on the Layer 5 website. You can refer to the ideas, the design ideas for each of the sections, the content that is present here, and also if someone wants to go into detail, they can go to the playground. They can sign up for the MeshMap playground, and that will allow them to know how exactly MeshMap works, and yeah, they can sign up on the sign up here. If anyone hasn't signed up, you can sign up to this form, and will allow access to them, and they can see how MeshMap works, and that will help them get more ideas about how to design these pages.
Yeah, the designs look good. Shivam, if you could share the link of Figma in chat, folks can take a look.
Sure. So if anyone has any feedback or any reviews on the already created designs, one of the designs for the main MeshMap website, Gaurav was created here, and these also look good. I've taken some of the components from here. So you can refer to all these designs that are already present here, and you can open and show your creativity.
Yeah, the dark mode designs looks much better than mine. Yeah, more feedback for Shivam.
Cool. So, hey, just to recap, Shivam is calling for people to participate in creating some new designs for, well, a lot of times we'll do designs. Well, a lot of times we'll do designs for existing pages or for new pages or for new websites. I'm lost count as to how many websites it is that we steward and maintain here, but there's quite a few. And there's actually a few I don't think that we'll even speak about today, which is how many we maintain. That means that that actually means that we're in need of a few maintainers of a couple of the different sites. In this particular case, the main website, layer5.io, I think we're almost up to, well, close to maybe 400 contributors or so, kind of getting there. It's the site that represents the collective set of works by all of you, all of us. And so we curate it and pay attention to every pixel and try to do our best to make this thing both look as good as it can, but also speak to what the community does, what the projects do, what the value being offered. And there is still a ton of room for improvement, like a lot of improvement. It would be really nice if we had dark mode by default on layer 5.io. I don't think that we're quite there yet, though. And by there, I mean, like if you look at this page just here, there are, I think, just, basically 2 colors on the page. There's yellow and green outside of black and white. I mean, and maybe that's okay, but it also is a little bit bland. Maybe it's just one sample, but if you keep going, you get some different color gray in the background of the cards. And basically, as we switch into dark mode, we start to question, like, are we ready? That's certainly something that anyone can go take an assessment of. And a lot of you do open up issues about dark mode things. It's a good goal for us all to set. We might want to set a date around achieving that type of a goal and making sure that that everyone's really comfortable with that becoming the default. As we go to have it the default, and as Shivam calls for new pages to be designed, he's calling for new pages to be designed on the MeshMap capability, which happens to be the same capability that people play with when they go into the cloud native playground, when they go into Meshery Playground. That's quite a sophisticated app, and that's kind of what's being demonstrated in the video clip. And that app is not well described. Its functionality is not well articulated anywhere. And so Shivam has worked on revamping the current single page that's there today. And it's had a lot of improvement. It needs more improvement by the way in which it watches people's scroll wheel or the site visitors touch on the mobile phone. And so Udit Takar, I think he and maybe some others are working on that. But what Shivam is calling for is more pages, because there's a lot more functionality to describe. So for any of you here, like Ritik, who might show off some of his designs a little bit later, you're all welcome to try your hand at doing a design. Sometimes it's the case that someone thinks that they are really good at design and they're quite terrible. Sometimes it's the case that people think they're really good at web programming, and it turns out they're a lot better at visual design or user experience design. And there's a slight difference between, not a slight, there's a massive difference between UX, UI, and visual design. And it's not always obvious to folks. But point of my long-winded update is that everybody's encouraged to come try out doing some designs if you'd like. There's a shared Figma that's out there. What you don't want to do as you go to access that Figma and play with some designs and try to iterate on what might be done, pretty much the only thing that you wouldn't want to do is take someone else's design and update it. Rather, take a copy of their design if you want to change it and make a change on the copy. That way they don't come back the next day pissed off at Leave for touching their stuff, because I'm probably the worst offender and I'll just get blamed. So anyway, good. Shivam, this is great, man. The new page is looking great. We don't know if Udit is here. Maybe we should ping him and see if he'll join.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, he is. Oh, okay. I just skipped right past the U's in my. What's going on, by the way? Why is Animesh? I tell you what, he was like the last on the list. My Zoom participant panel doesn't know alphabetical order. I don't know. Anyway, Udit, good. I'm glad you're here. Do you want to, have you gotten a chance to look at what might be done here in terms of capturing scroll?
Yeah, so actually I tried fixing the current implementation, but there are a lot of problems. Like if the cursor is not in that section, then you cannot see that scrolling part. And also sometimes in mobile, it's not very stable when you try to scroll it all at once. So I was thinking like maybe we should use a different library, which I found. I think it's called Green Sock Library for scroll trigger, which we can use. So I think I'll just re-implement this feature again.
Nice. Yeah. Have you played with that particular library in the past? Or used it?
Yeah, actually, a lot of websites use this particular library. So I think I can just use this. Yeah, this one.
Nice. Yeah. Well, good. Yeah. Anything else to say about it? Like, so you pointed out a couple of challenges that it will help overcome. And one of those for sure being mobile, like touch scroll, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There are a few websites actually which have used this library. They have examples of this. So I think I just tried on this mobile version. It was working fine for them.
Well, I'm excited. That's great.
Yep. Any more comments for Shivam, yeah, great work, Shivam, on designs, and yeah, thank you for making a call out for volunteers. So if anyone wants to contribute to this design effort, do signal now in chat, or you can signal later in Slack in website channel. Any more item from you, Shivam?
No.
Cool. Let's move to next item. That's by Udit on ad of performance tips. Udit, would you like to share?
Yeah, this is. Yeah, so there are a few points that I had to just to improve the performance. Is there anything that which I missed or I should add?
I don't think so. Did you just take in some feedback and add a couple of links to, oh, no. Okay. Yeah. A couple of links to explain FPC and LPC, or are we not doing that?
I think they are mentioned like very in detail in the Google website, like in web or dev also. I
Yeah.
think we should like re-explain all these things. Or I'll just add this link there in a README file, I think.
That's a great compromise. Yeah, you're right that like in a lot of our contributing instructions, we might say something like, well, make sure that Jekyll is installed, or make sure that Gatsby CLI is installed. And we don't go about regurgitating all of the other instructions that are elsewhere, but we might give a quick link. And so, yeah, that's a good compromise, or, in between, because you don't want to redefine the definition. If it changes, then we're out of date, and it's just better just to point people to the source. And so that's great.
Yes, I think there's also one more link which Gatsby provide just to improve the site performance. I think also add this there.
By the way, for context for everyone else, so Udit and a number of the rest of you, I don't know if Ayush Sharma is on, but a number of you have worked on the performance of the Layer 5 IO website in particular. Performance has an effect on whether or not people enjoy navigating the site, whether or not they can see things, particularly if they're on a slower connection. It also has an effect on page rank and whether or not people end up discovering your works or not. So if things are loading slowly, that's not good. And so Udit has, in particular, and Ayush and some others have worked on really dramatically improving the site's performance. And so there are many tools to measure the performance of a site. One of the tools is the one that Udit just had up, web.dev. Another one is pingdom.com. There's a lot. Ayush Sharma has recently helped integrate Lighthouse as a tool into the build process of the website. Lighthouse as a tool to analyze the performance of the site. It doesn't run when you build the website locally on your machine, but it does run, and you can see the red X against it here. It does run when you open a pull request. And so that first workflow, it has a red X next to it because it's a relatively new workflow in which the site's performance is being analyzed. So when you open up a pull request, the site itself is built, and then a number of performance tests are asserted against it or tested against it. And since it's a new measurement for us, we still have a long list of red X's of failures. And so this is another area for anyone on the call to jump in and bite off a specific thing to fix or to help improve the performance of the site. It isn't all about performance necessarily. Some of the red marks that we get might be on accessibility, which might have something to do with like font size or like proximity of buttons and how big they are in mobile view, or like there's a long list of there's a long checklist. And so we're going to continue to see that red X until we get each one of those addressed. Some of them we might not have the ability to do anything about. And so some of them we might set to ignore, and that's okay. But we want to make it to the bottom of the list. So if you're looking for something an area to contribute to, and this is certainly one of them. You can go to any of the open pull requests, go to that Lighthouse workflow, and just read some of the specific tests. And sometimes there's suggestions on how those tests, well, all of the time there's suggestions on how those tests can be remediated. So, yeah. Udit, anything else to say on this one?
No.
Nice. Oh, and then Chinu has probably a good suggestion about taking what I just said, or part of what I just said, and maybe updating the contributing guide with an explanation as to what Lighthouse is and what happens if you see a red X, what should you do, that kind of thing.
Thank you for your update, Udit. So let's move to next item, which is by Swagata on spacing between cards. Swagata, would you like to share your screen?
Hey, am I audible?
Yep, you are.
Okay.
Hey, Swagata, you are mute.
Hey, like as I'm like sharing the screen, the mic is getting muted automatically.
Okay. You can try again, or if that doesn't work, I'll share my screen and then you can do a voiceover.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, actually the problem was like there wasn't any space between the cards. As I figured out, like on a particular screen width of 912 to 990 pixels, and yeah, and we did give a suggestion like related to the border radius that wasn't like coming out nicely on this particular screen width. So yeah, I would like to fix it, and as well, like if you scroll down a bit, like more, there's another suggestion by Avik, and yeah, he did pointed out like not modifying the reusable component, which I did actually. I think he's correct, and I want your views on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So I was just thinking that when I saw the code, it's currently implemented with flex and like random margins and padding to achieve the grid that you're looking into. But rather than doing that, we could actually use the CSS grid, which would allow us to give the proper gaps between the columns instead of using margins in the reusable component as well. So that would like change the implementation that we currently have. But the fix that Swagata has currently proposed will like temporarily fix this issue. And if we change the way it's implemented right now, it will also take in consideration the thing that Avik pointed out about changing the reusable component.
So Swagata, any comments on Avi's suggestion?
Yeah, like if we have to like modify the entire stuff with grid, I guess we have to change a lot of stuff. So should I like go with like modifying it with grid, or like should I keep it as it is, or as it like is implemented with flex and just change the margin bottom?
Yeah, I wonder. By the way, is Nikhil Lada on today? I thought I saw him.
Nope.
Okay. So, and by the way, I missed who it was that gave the feedback about potential use of grids.
Oh, it was me.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. So, let me ask you this. So good suggestion. Let me ask you this, because we're not using a grid-based layout, or not to my knowledge just yet. If we hold that thought for a moment and answer a couple of other questions, I wonder if we can't achieve the same, like more or less the same goal that that's being suggested, and that is, well, having reusable components is almost always desirable. Like, so maybe not necessarily, well, even maybe not necessarily reusable pages or reusable sections. I mean, even at that, like every page has a header and a footer and a like, so some amount of reusable pages is and reusable sections is ideal, but certainly like reusable components. And so I don't think that that's, I don't think that anyone would have a bone to pick with that statement. Then as we look to pervasively incorporate a system by which we are hopefully writing less code and more of the code is dynamic in nature. And by that, I mean, this is a great example that's on the screen right here. There's a media query that says, oh, you know, specifically if the window size is at 991 pixels or between 913, do this. It's like, wow, that is really specific. As a matter of fact, the more specific or the more static in nature the style is described, the more fragile the site. You'd almost go so far as to say the more code that you have, the more fragile your system is. The more likelihood for bug, the more likelihood that if you change something somewhere else, you might impact this area. And ideally, what we're aspiring to is, well, I'm not sure how to refer to this category of CSS styling other than to be a bit dynamic in nature, or to be less specific, less explicit, maybe is the way of saying it. So if we were to use things like calc to calculate, a dynamic size, or to use VH or VW or some of these a little bit newer approaches to CSS, we might find ourselves with less maintenance. And so on this topic, when you look at flex-based design or grid-based design, those systems have concepts have similar like dynamic sizing. I don't know that I have the right words here, but they have dynamic sizing that can be used such that you describe this once and your page resizes responsively as you would hope that it would, without having to tell it every single little step that it needs to respond to. So I don't know that we are fully using Flex in all of its glory. So before we go on to a grid-based approach, I wonder if we can't achieve the same using the same system that we have today. I know that there's a number of things in Flex that we're not using. What do you all think?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Instead of completely switching the layout, we could try implementing Flex in a better way, rather than using static margins and paddings to make stuff fit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You could almost say, like, I don't know if this is necessarily the case. I'd be interested if people have other opinions or experiences. Like within a given component, you might be somewhat like ideally, even inside of a component, we're still using Flex. We're still using like dynamic styling such that things are responsive as they should be, but that we're leaning into things more like minimum width or maximum height, and not necessarily explicitly stating what the width or height is, but just stating what those bounds are so that between those bounds, things are just fine. What I was going to say is that you might be a little more comfortable within a component to be explicit about padding and less explicit about margin, but rather letting the page or the section in which all of these components are put in, that might be more descriptive of the margin because it's in more control of where components are placed with respect to one another. So at this point, I think I'm just haranguing you all on the point that like, hey, we should be improving our CSS chops. That's going to help us have a prettier site, less code, less maintenance. And this is a great opportunity to flex our skills with flex here. Yeah, I know. I know that was a little contrived. I'll try to improve the jokes.
Yeah, cool. With that quote, let's move to next item. That's by Nikhil on dark mode for the pages. So do we have Nikhil B on the call? I don't think so. So let's, okay, that's also not a link. So we can skip his topic and let's move to next item, which is by Suhail on convert stack of categories filters to a carousel on homepage. So yeah, we do have Suhail on the call. Suhail, would like to share your screen?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yep, it is.
Yeah. So to give a bit of overview, so I was working on the issue of if you visit the layer 5 website, there are a bunch of filters over here. So the issue was to make this stack of filters into a carousel view. So there were some issues on Safari related to the icon. The icon were breaking a bit on hovering. So I have worked on it. If it's I don't know if it is working still on Safari or not. If you can confirm it.
Okay, yeah, let's give it a test. By the way, who all, by show of hands, I suppose, inside of Zoom, who all has access to Safari? I mean, it could be on an iPhone or it could be on Mac OS, but it's helpful to sometimes know who that is because sometimes we have Safari specific issues. It's nice when people can help add a helping hand.
Yes, I have the Safari browser.
Oh, nice. Sam does. Okay. Yash Sharma does. And
Yeah, I've shared the link of preview in chat. You all can test.
here, I'll share real quick. I grabbed the link that was in the chat, and I've got Safari up. And so, drum roll. Here we go. Oh, hey, wait a second. Hey, wait. This is that looks like arrows. It looks like this one doesn't light up when I touch it because I can't go backwards because it's the end. Although you might think that would be a little bit lighter in color. It is a little bit lighter than this one, just not by a lot. It would be more, maybe a little more disabled. little more handicapped, a little older, whatever adjective you want to use. Anyway, you might want to lighten up this, but the arrows are, well, they're looking like arrows. When I hover the mouse over it, one of the issues that Suhail was having was this nasty effect of, well, I don't know what the effect was, but it was not good. And I don't see that anymore. And these things look functional and they look to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so Suhail, if you're still accepting feedback, you might consider lightening up, if we go all the way to the end. All right, we're at the very end and you can see that this changes to a lighter gray. This is more black. I think we have a winner. Yeah, I'm agree with Yash. Like, I hate to say this to Suhail because he's only been at this for this is like the 95th time that he's like taken feedback. I think he might break his laptop if we give him more feedback. What we might want to do is like make sure that this lands so that he can feel good about it, get a check in the box. It's a good improvement. It reduces the overall height of the screen. We're not showing, 3 or 4 stacks high of the filters, but he's just got it down to 1. And then the carousel comes into play. As you take on follow-up feedback, Suhail, you might want to brainstorm with Yash Sharma about what else could be used other than these arrowheads. But anybody else have feedback?
Yeah, the arrowheads are slightly having different style in Chrome, or like I'm testing it in Brave. So yeah, if you could real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, they will have different style. Like for the previous arrow also, they are different style.
Yeah.
Can't be style similar.
Right. Not only that, but there's probably one other thing.
The height, or like the alignment also. If we try to fix alignment in Safari, it will break in the Chrome. If we fix it in Chrome, it will break in Safari. So this is the sweet spot right now that we have.
Yeah. So in terms of trying to get the arrow into the middle here, you're saying, Subedi, it's at least of what we've attempted thus far. It works one way or the other. I wonder I don't know if this is an image or not. If it is or it isn't, there's other tricks maybe to try. One is just to use CSS to draw something here.
We are using, I guess, CSS to draw like before.
Oh, okay. Another one is to place an image into the background, or put that CSS drawing into the background of an element here instead of. Anyway, there might be a couple of things that haven't been. But yeah. Suhail, that was like, I think 3 points of feedback, maybe.
Yeah, I got it.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for your update, Suhail. So let's move to next item. That's again by Shivam on UI fix for repository overview page on layerfile.io. I think that's different, Shivam.
Yeah, and Shivam.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me just share my screen. Okay, so what was happening was, just a second. Yeah, here the heading was overlaying over this content. So to fix this, I had in PR. Yeah, here. So I just wanted someone to look into it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, do you want to flip over to the files tab real fast, or the code changes?
Sure. Yeah, sure. There was a very small change. I just needed to put anchor tag before this p tag here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a real quick update.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hit merge directly. So yeah, any more things from you, Shivam?
No, that's it.
Yeah, cool. So next up, let's move to items for Meshery Docs. So first up, we have Chinu on improved dark mode visibility of code snippets and click feedback of copy button. So do we have Chinu on the call? Yep, we do.
Am I audible, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this was the update. So my last PR did updated the code snippets here, but it was all good. But if you go to the dark mode, it looks weird and like all white, and the button is not visible. And even if even you click the button, there is no feedback to the user, like yeah, something has been copied or what. So I improved it in this version. So in the dark mode, it is like still a dark, and this button is now a bit responsive. If you click on this, you will get a click feedback, and you just release, it's copied, and yeah, boom, back. So this is the improvement I have made. So I think this is the final improvement needed to this component. It is all black now and works fine on both the points. Click here, yeah, it's just copied, and yeah. So it's done now.
Yep, that's really awesome. So yeah, I don't think anyone has any comments or feedback. Yeah, the work looks prominent.
So this was it.
Thank you, Chinu. Let me share my screen again. So moving to next item, we have by Anushka Jha on, okay. So Anushka, do you have an update on this item on your pull request? Okay, I don't think she's on the call. So let's move to next item, which is by Anand on changes made to the icon and text of all catalogs.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, I hope I'm audible. I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, so the issue I was working on was so this was the previous look on the Meshery.io/catalog page, where the text here was misaligned. Actually, not misaligned. It was on a corner of the card. So I got it centered. So now that it's merged, it looks like this. But there were a few feedbacks. One from Gurpreet said, she was talking about how this may not be an important bit of information that needs to be on the center. But I was on another call where I got it, but I just learned that this is a unique idea which might be, which might have some significance. So now that we have it centered, I think it's, good. And she was also talking about the title overflow and some of these cards, and also the catalog card, which has been removed now. And this, I think, is fixed in another PR. So this was about my PR.
Nice. With the modals, with the modals no longer in play at the moment, Anand is part of the proposal here that we bring them back.
No, not really. No, I mean, in
the feedback that Gurpreet gave, she was talking about the models not being responsive, and she was probably suggesting these are the things that we look into first before we change whatever that I have changed. But since we have already removed the models now, I don't think like this is relevant, is what I meant to say.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And then so you're just sharing it to you. Okay. You're just sharing it today for completeness of work.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice, Anand. So next up we have Chinu again on.
Yeah,
Oh,
one other thought, Anand. Since like it's, well, I'll say this, like, man, as an individual that does software for all of you, it is an inevitability that the thing that you're working on will get canceled. Like, man, if you care about what you're doing, it's that's not the best feeling. The reality is, much of what we do as software engineers was fairly short-lived. A lot of times, as a matter of fact, if your same code is running a decade from now, it's probably not a good place to be. Like, software that's used a lot is changed a lot. That isn't like a universal, like that's a pretty general statement. What I mean to say is software is typically a living thing, and projects are also a living thing, and things change and et cetera. So I would encourage you all to, like, when that moment comes for you, to actively consider that there's a balance between having enough of a sense of ownership and a sense of pride in the thing that you're working on, that you persist through the hard times of trying to figure it out and get it done, but balance that with the inevitable, like, cancellation of the thing, or someone else, or a direction being changed or something. Like, it's a hard balance to strike. But just as a forewarning, having said that, it's always nice to reflect for just a moment to see if we can capitalize Anand on your learnings and your thinking about those modals and what could be done. If you look at Meshery catalog right now and you go to an individual card, an individual entry, it'll take you to a single page that describes that entry. One of the things that it does on that page is, at the bottom, it will say, oh, here's some recent discussions from the discussion forum that have occurred. And it's like, okay, that's nice. That's relevant information. Well, there's other relevant information, and I guess it's already there, but that related patterns is relevant information for, I guess I didn't realize that the related patterns had made it here. I think that might, I don't know if that's hard coded or not. I mean, that's worth a look to make sure that, one, if there were 55 related patterns, what would happen? Do we handle that well? Two, you can see some obvious dark mode bugs right now as we visit the page in a few places right there and down in the related patterns. So I would carry your momentum forward and, like, dig into some of these next problems.
Sorry to interrupt, but
the related pattern is not hard coded. Whatever available patterns that are not in coming soon status of a particular category are displayed here. Maybe, the work of maybe the handling of like more than 50 patterns, maybe that need to be done, but the dynamicity, like, it's not static. That's what I meant.
Nice. And that in this case, Subedi, is it the case that if you take a look at the URL where it looks like we're in the traffic management category, is it the case then that both, I mean, that that's how the relationship is being determined, if they're both in the same category like that?
It's on the basis of the category traffic. If there's a deployment pattern, then all the available patterns of deployment category are shown in the related patterns.
I also had one thing to point out. When we see all the contents that are present, so when we click on the all section, So the coming soon are on the middle, and then the remaining catalogs are below. Like when we scroll down here, so there, this is the patterns, some of the catalogs. But when we scroll more, there are some coming soon, and then some of the patterns are gone below. So can we sort them properly? Like all the coming soons can be go down, pushed down, and the remaining ones can be pushed up.
That was maybe implemented for pagination or something a while back, but instead of making things, it actually broke things. I removed this in my recent PI. If that gets merged, this will be removed. We'll see available patterns at the top and then coming soon patterns at the below. There will be no further patterns that are available after the coming soon patterns.
Yeah, cool. Savior, do review Aditya's PR if you would. Yeah, that's good. So let's move to next Adam. That's by okay, Ananya. So yeah, I think we skipped Avishankar's topic. So yeah, Avishankar would like to share your screen and present your topic on unresponsiveness of code snippets.
Yeah, by the way, it's Avishkar, not Avishankar. I just wanted to
cool.
clear it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. So, okay, I'll share my screen. uh, okay, this is okay. Hopefully, it's visible. So, this is the fix regarding issue.
Your voice just cut off, Avishkar.
Which is true for all of the code snippets. So as you can see, the helm has a large.
Hey, Avishkar, sorry to know, but your screen is not visible and your voice just cut off in middle.
Okay.
Will you try again sharing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see now.
Okay. So hopefully I'm audible this time. So yeah, as I said, the initial implementation didn't include any scrolling in the snippets. So as you can see, even for the larger code snippets, the entire thing is visible on its own without there being any scrolling needed, even on smaller screen. But as Chinu pointed out, the font size needed to be a bit bigger. So I made it larger. And he also said that the individual commands need to be on a separate line instead of, as you can see, the command here is just wraps around instead of scrolling. So I made one of the changes. So this is an example of the entire command being on a single line. So I just wanted some feedback regarding which one would be preferable. So being the single command on a single line and it being scrollable like this, or the entire thing visible in a single glance.
Feedback
Did I
for
get through?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Feedback comments for Avishkar.
I think it should not be on a single line because it is very difficult to navigate.
Yeah, that's what I initially thought. That's why it was implemented this way. Because, like, according to me, on smaller screen sizes like mobile phones, you won't read through every command like this. So you just copy it here and you could use it instead of having it like this. So that's why I intended to get a feedback before pushing changes. I have fixed the font issue, so the font is larger than before. The only remaining part is about this change.
But I think on many of the blogging site, we have seen that all the command is on a single line.
Right. That's why, yeah. Any more suggestions? Like, Lee, anything you want to say?
Yeah, he just stepped away for a while.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. So one is supporting the change and one is currently just having the change as it is.
Yeah, cool. It looks fine to me. Otherwise, like folks might have more suggestions and we could take the conversation to Slack if required.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for your update, Avishkar.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, I
So,
would like to add something here that generally when we are looking at the blogging sites, we generally read through everything. But when we are looking at the docs for setting up something, we generally just want to set up the thing. We generally don't go through every line. So it also depends on what we are looking for, whether to show or not show the entire command, I feel.
yep.
So you are supporting the entire thing being visible or the entire thing being scrollable?
I'm supporting it being scrollable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you, Arunima, for your feedback. We just have 2 minutes left. So let's quickly move to next item. That's by Ananya on Twitter testimonials. So Ananya, would you quickly cover your topic?
Yeah, sure. Just a second. Hi, I hope my screen is visible.
Yep, it is. And you are audible too.
Yeah. So, like a few days back, I raised this issue about Twitter testimonials, where I said that, like on the official site, we can see that in the footer, we just have this one tweet, which is kind of like cramped in the corner. And I thought that maybe, we have so many tweets which like tag Meshery.io, and I thought that it will be better if we can have some section around here, which like basically shows, the Twitter testimonials, like what users are saying about, Meshery.io, how they're using it and all that stuff. So, we can have something like, I made this very simple mockup, you know, uh, we can have something like this, or, some grid kind of thing like this, where we have like the most recent tweets, like 5 tweets or something, which are talking about Meshery, and it will update dynamically, obviously, depending on the time. So yeah, that was my idea, and I just thought it would be better to get everyone's feedback on it.
Yeah, and I thought we could do a little bit of workaround on this item, and you can definitely share your design in Slack or on discuss.lifi.io.
Yeah, sure. Any other suggestions or something?
Nothing at the moment. I guess we could like iterate more on it once we have initial design.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, one other thought on this particular topic is, well, we are lacking a bit on the Layer 5 IO website as well about testimonials. So we have, I think, 2 pages that have testimonials. One of them is the MeshMap page, and I think the other one is a pricing page. They're quite similar. I think it's just a reuse of the same component. But there are many other pages on the site that don't have small testimonials interwoven. And that would be a good improvement. Like any area where we're describing a feature of a project, it's an opportunity potentially for a testimonial next to it. Or like in the sequence of like showing a feature, testimonial, feature, testimonial, like, or something that kind of backs it up. There's a lot of power behind, well, or psychologically, there's a lot of power behind that effect. So yeah, so good suggestion. Some things to think about are the amount of whether or not those tweets for the Meshery.io website would be dynamically retrieved at the moment that someone loads. Would we, or would we curate those a little more statically, or it's just things to think about.
Yeah, cool. So we are 2 minutes over and we have just 2 topics to left. So do you want to discuss this topic, or we could carry forward this to next meeting? So one is by Gyan on issue of fix of form width. So yeah, hey Gyan, I would like to like quickly call upon this issue.
Sure, Gaurav, but I think that link is the wrong. So mistakenly I have like, provided a long link here. Like let's just share my screen and show you that about the issue.
Yeah, sure. If you could do it real quick.
Sure. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yep, it is.
So here we can see on the Meshery programs page. So the community newsletter is overflowing. We can see here the extra white space. So what I've done just basically just change the width of to auto. Here you can see it was earlier day 22.5 frame. So I've changed to auto, and then the Gurpreet has told me to just sorry.
Yeah, it looks good. So let's get it reviewed from the site maintainers and contributors, and let's get it merged.
Arunima has reviewed it, and okay, see you can see.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, we can merge this thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gyan. So we are 4 minutes over. So Lee, do you want to review Ritik's public user profile? I think we should.
Just, yeah, if you just flash it for a second,
yeah,
maybe the, yeah, use it very briefly. So yeah, as people, well, there are layer 5 member profiles on the layer 5 IO website. We had originally had those on Meshery.io, and then we created more projects other than just Meshery.io, and we had the same contributors contributing in multiple places. And so we have been curating the layer 5 IO member profiles. They're static. As we have more and more people using, well, signing into Meshery, creating designs, wanting to share those designs in the public catalog, as people engage and receive badges as they engage in the community, as they might do something on GitHub, or they might do something in Figma, or they might do something on the discussion forum. All of those are a variety of statistics about their level of engagement and participation in the community. And so there's a desire to have a new profile page that's a little bit more dynamic and helps facilitate publication of content in Meshery catalog, linking back to the person that published the content. Ritik has done a few designs here. They maybe they could use improvement, maybe not. Irrespective, it's probably time to start on some implementation. And so on Ritik's behalf, I'm just quickly saying, hey, if you're into React and Material UI, there's an open need here. Raise your hand. This is an area where, well, you'll get a lot of support from me specifically on this. I would say that if you're not comfortable with React or MUI, or Material UI, you're welcome to review the PRs or what have you, but we'll look to move a little quickly here. This is in Meshery UI or Meshery Cloud. I'm sorry, this is in Meshery Cloud. So, so you'll be granted access to that private repo. It's private for a couple of different reasons. One of them is because it contains personally identifiable information about individuals that sign up for Meshery, and so that stuff isn't exposed publicly. But fantastic. So if I see a number of different hands coming up, there's more work than, which is good actually, because there's more than just this. There's a lot of things to add inside of Meshery Cloud. Maybe one thing to do is to spend a few moments in Figma breaking out some of that work, because as a matter of fact, just on this user profile page, there's a component about badges, and there's a component about GitHub contributions, and there's a component about, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is there could be quite a few of you potentially involved in this specific item. So, well, then probably between Ritik and I, we should probably take an action item to get you all go describe this a little bit better, point to where you can get involved and to where how you can get access and that kind of a thing, like, and start to put people's names on certain sections, which is something I think you could all self do. Maybe that's a good way if you were to go into Figma and just slap a comment or slap your name next to something. That might help in just getting us organized. Also, if you have feedback on the designs, now is an appropriate time as well. So, also, as we go to wrap up, and Gaurav tells me to shut up so we can close the call. If you're here and you're doing this, you might get really good at twiddling your thumbs kind of back and forth. You go one way, you go back the other way. But at some point, maybe you're not here to twiddle your thumbs. Maybe you're here to do something. You might be here to twiddle your thumbs, and that's fine. Just hanging out on the call, that's fine. But if you don't have something to do, say it, mention it in Slack. And when you say that, don't just say, what can I do? Say, like, here's what I'm good at. Here's also what I'm trying to learn. Is there an area that I might help on? Or like Anaya, just make a suggestion. Those things are usually well received, like Manisha's glossary suggestion. Sounds pretty good to me. So, well, back to you, Gaurav.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Lee. So yeah, do signal in Slack. So with that, we are 9 minutes over today. So thank you all for joining, and thanks for staying back. So with that, let's wrap the call. So bye everyone. We'll meet you next week, same time, same place. Thank you all for joining.